Hi, this is Chris Lavin from Xtreme Polishing Systems in Deerfield Beach, Florida. And we are blessed and privileged to have with us today Jeff Stanish from SIMIX Surface Solutions.
SIMIX Surface Solutions.
Let's pronounce properly, correct?
SIMIX is the name I would like you to use.
Okay, we were going back and forth with SIMIX, but it is SIMIX.
Yes.
So Jeff is obviously a fellow cheesehead. He's from the great state of Wisconsin, like Christopher Lavin is over here.
Yes, sir.
And I actually met Jeff through a phone call after using some of his product for cleaning glass. That was
That's correct.
Introduced to me by my lovely wife.
And with a sense of skepticism on your part, you allowed me to grace your presence.
Yes, yes.
And begin to extol the virtues of such a wonderful product.
Yes, yes. Jeff has a great product, and we're here today to talk to Jeff about his product. We're going to, more importantly, after Jeff talks to us about his great product and what it does and what the too good to be true myth behind it all, we're going to hopefully get everybody that's out there that has any interest in prolonging the life to their floors, try out some of Jeff's product on a trial basis at absolutely no charge to you. Only after you've used the product and like the product will you pay for the product.
Absolutely.
So we want to give you guys that opportunity, but more importantly, we want to get to know Jeff a little bit more on a personal level, and also talk to you guys about the future of floors and how SIMIX is going to be a big part of that through Xtreme Polishing Systems. Anyways, Jeff, why don't you give us a little background on who you are and where you came from and how this product came about.
So here I am in 1997. I get off the plane in Budapest, Hungary.
Okay.
And at that time, I was co-founder of a company called Safeguard Medical, and we had just sold the company to a group out of Monaco. And we had a single-use syringe, which was rather unique. And American Becton Dickinson turned us down here in the States, and so we had to find somebody to buy into the concept, and they did. And to make a long story short, when I arrived there, I couldn't believe what I saw. Here I am in Budapest and looking at these buildings, and you would think you were on South Beach. These pastel shades of these pinks and the greens, it's as if you were on South Beach in Miami, and you're going like, what is this all about? Then I find out, not necessarily that day, but over a period of days, that those buildings were painted in the 1920s. And what they were painted with was silicate coating with inorganic tints. So, and I noticed in the buildings, I said, 20, I said, that's anti-American. You can't have a paint job last 77 years. That's insane. And I go, but that's interesting. So what happened was, as I began to talk and listen to these guys, and I was in and out of Budapest during the next 18 months, probably, 9 or 10 times, okay? But at one trip, I finally, and I would get up early in the morning and walk along the Danube River, which was beautiful. But I noticed that some of the buildings didn't have any paint on it. So I asked them what happened, and they said, well, there was a prolonged flood. Well, then I found out that that coating, even though it lasts, it will go back to a soluble state and rinse off if it's submerged in water for 7 days. So that made sense. How could you use it then? Well, I looked at that, and the more I thought about it, and I have no background in chemistry, I want you to understand that. I have zero, okay? I was going to be an accountant. I was going to be a CPA in 1965 when I was at the University of Wisconsin. So here I am looking at this and saying, wow, this is interesting. But I looked at it differently, and I said, what if we could take that product and put it to other applications? And is there a way to take that coating and make it insoluble? Well then, as fate would have it, it was in less than 2 or 3 weeks. It was now 1998. Let me jump forward. 1998, okay. August 19th, I get this phone call. And the guy's telling me, and I'm looking to, I didn't like living in Europe, and I wanted to, I've sold the company. We sold our interest out to this group out of Monaco, and so I want to get back to the States, and I'm thinking about what do I want to do. I get a phone call, and the guy begins to tell me about, he met this guy, Dr. John B. Shutt, who retired from NASA. And his claim to fame is that his group at NASA created the coating for the space shuttle. which I was told at the time it was a zinc-rich potassium silicate, okay, white coating on the space shuttle, and how it was cured at ambient temperature, and it didn't come off. I go, that's a home run. Let's talk to this guy. And so that led me to quickly, within a matter of 3 days later, I left London. I got the call while I was in London. I came home 3 days later. I flew down to Florida to meet this guy and talk to him about what he had. And I figured at the time, I said, you know, there's an opportunity here. Well, we tried to make it work. We couldn't make it work. $10.4 million, 6 years of my life, couldn't make it work. Not good. But out of it came an idea of making a clear coat and going away from the pigments. And sure enough, a miracle happened on about the 5th of May in 2004. Made it work. Was able to put it down on a paver, let it dry, put it in boiling water. Nothing happened. Now, if you let it cure for 7 days, normally then it takes 7 days for it to come off. Well, we then let it sit in water for 2 weeks. Nothing happened. I go, whoops, we got it. Now, it sounds simple. We got it. Did we have it? That was step one. We started with 100 milliliters, okay? We had to scale it up. How do you go from 100 milliliters to a gallon to 5 gallons to 55, and how do you do 5,000 gallon batches? And that took us time. That took us well over a year, okay, to finally get that. But we finally got it worked out, and not quite a whole year, and we shipped our first commercial product at that time, and I was looking at that time to put it on concrete. So in May of 2005, my chemist, who is the creator of lithium silicates, okay?
Okay.
Very important that you remember lithium silicates, because
Well,
you're in the densifying business.
Yeah,
right?
I'm in the densifier business in a big
Okay.
way,
All right.
and the polished concrete in a big way.
Okay.
Lithium silicates is what's specified in a lot of jobs.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of novel. So he created it. He's got a couple patents. He sold them to FMC Corp, okay? And when we chose, and I chose to get in this business, he chose for us to go with potassium silicate. The reason is it's a much larger molecule and it's much harder. Lithium is the softest metal out there. It's softer than lead. That's how you make batteries, okay?
Yeah.
But the problem is it migrates. What I mean by that is you can put lithium on a polished concrete floor, and then as you auto scrub it within 3 to 6 months, finish is gone. The lithium came out. It's not locked in permanently.
Right. It's water it's washed off.
It washes right off, okay? It goes, it's water soluble. Whereas you put us down, and you have experience now, correct?
Correct. Oh,
You
yeah.
put us down, it locks in, and it stays. And it starts to grow like a crystalline structure. It gets tighter and tighter, which means it gets shinier and shinier. So it gets harder over time, and it becomes more resistant. Now, we've got schools down that have been down for over 4 years now with the new process. And so I'm kind of jumping ahead of myself. But anyway, so we're down there looking at the stadium with them. And one thing we talked to them about at the stadium is, sure, we can help you. We can put our coating down because it contains nanoparticles of TiO2, which means it's a photocatalyst. That means that if you have a source of UV light, which, let's face it, the sun is the source of UV light,
Yeah, it is.
it's going to sit there and it's going to hit these little tiny particles and it's going to bounce around. And within 10 to 60 seconds, it's going to take the relative humidity in the air and add an extra molecule of oxygen. Now that's H2O2. Went from H2O into H2O2. That is the safest oxidizer made. That's hydrogen peroxide. So what it's going to do then is if there's any organic matter present, it acts like Pac-Man. It self-destructs. It goes away, but it also gets rid of some of the organic material. So that way you would prevent the growth of roof algae on roofs or mold on concrete or sidewalks, all right? So, and the second benefit of putting our coating down is that it'll wick into the concrete, and then it'll densify it, make it stronger, right? That's what a densifier is all about, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so it's going to get in there, and it's so much harder. In fact, on the mole's hardness scale, very important, hardened steel is 8, diamond is 10, we are nominally in the 9 range. That means we're harder than hardened steel, correct? harder than hardened steel, not as hard as diamond, but if you compare us to everything else, your floor finishes are down here. Your typical products from the major people are down here in the 3, 4, 5 range, so they're going to be softer. Nothing will penetrate on ours, but we're working at the nano level. We're working at the billionth of a meter measurement.
Right, the billionth of a meter measurement. I like that. That's the nanotechnology. I always get confused. I always get confused about that. So if you can kind of take us through
if you talk to most people and they talk about floor finishes, they're going to talk in terms of mils or thousandths of an inch. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So they're going to talk about, like on an epoxy, they've got a 30 mil coating, right? 30 thousandths of an inch thick. All right? Okay. The next measurement down would be like micron. So for every mil or a thousandth of an inch, there are 25.4 microns. That's a millionth of a meter. Then you go to the next level, billionth. So there's 1,000 nanos equal 1 micron.
Oh,
okay? All right. So nominally, when we go down on a surface, we're going down at about 200 nanometers. When you look at it like a typical floor finish, like on VCT tile, or they put on top of terrazzo or epoxy, that they have to constantly strip off and replace, strip off and replace, they put down 4 coats to 8 coats. That's going to be 2 mils thick, or 50 microns. In order for us to get that thick, we go down at 200 nanometers. Takes 5 coats to equal a micron. Takes 25 times 5, or 125 coats to equal 1,000th of an inch. So you'd have to put down 250 coats of our product to be the same thickness as your typical floor finish. But here's the difference. At the nano level, you can give me a couple of microns of theirs, or you give me a mil of their stuff, we'll outwear them because we're so hard and they're soft. They get attachment. Things get ground into it. The floors return to shiny dirt. Well, with us, they're not. They're clean. They're bright, clean, and reflective. Okay, so let's go back to the Dolphin Stadium.
Yes.
Here we are in 2005. And so we go in there and we're looking at the stadium. I said, no problem at all. I said, you just put it down. We told them, look, you mix it up like we told you to do it, and then just spray it down on the concrete. It'll wick in. It'll set up within 20 minutes. It cures, and it won't go back to a soluble state. So they did a 20,000 square foot section up in the nosebleed area on the south side of the bowl that normally turns black every 30 days. And at the end of 5 months, 6 months after the hurricanes came through in 2005, you had those 4 hurricanes that came through, it stood out like a sore thumb. It was white, bright. The concrete now was bright white, okay, which is a benefit that it happens with it on the exterior. And so what happened next, so they said, okay, and Frank Everton, who was head of engineering at that time, says, I got some money in my budget. So he went ahead and he coated the whole exterior of the bowl. He did the pedestrian walkways and the nosebleed section, the 400 section. About 625,000 square feet. 8 years later, since it's all been coated, they have not pressure washed inside the pedestrian walkways. They're still clean as they were when they coated them.
That's amazing.
It's amazing because in the pedestrian walkways, they have fluorescent lights. So the lights are on 24/7 by law. And so it's emitting UV light. And so that UV light is bouncing off of there, made the concrete stark white. It's beautiful if you go there and look at it. It's nice bright white, okay? And it's clean. They haven't pressure washed. Can you imagine saving, think about that. They were pressure washing those every 90 days, so they've gone 4 times 8, 32 times they didn't have to pressure wash.
Wow.
Right? All right. So it was pretty exciting. New owners came in. They didn't complete the rest of the bowl. And they went back to their old way of doing what they were doing inside the stadium. But there was a bright, shining light for SIMIX. But it was at that time that I wanted to get into interior floors. And I said, why? Why can't we do it? Well, we couldn't, but we did learn. And what we had to learn was surface preparation. We had to learn how to make the surface so that it would, like on BCT, we use diamond burnishing pads, we shine the floor up, and then we apply the product. Okay, and it's beautiful. And my real goal in all of this at the time was I lost several friends to healthcare acquired infections. 39 million people go into the hospital every year in America. It's a sad thing that 1 out of 19 will come down with an infection. 2 million people come down with a healthcare acquired infection. It's not because of the people in there. It's just bad chemistry they're using to clean the hospitals. That's all it is. And of that, 5% of those end up going home in a body bag. 100,000 people die annually. Do you ever hear about it on the news? They talk about HIV. HIV is very deadly. People are dying from it. But who's doing anything about the hospitals? So my passion was, I want something to go on the floors. At first, I was rejected because the hospital said, you're not shiny enough. What do you mean shiny? Your floors are filthy. They're shiny, but they're shiny dirt. So it was from that I learned how to make it shinier.
Right.
I had to modify the formula a little bit. Cross-linker out, cross-linker in, made it work. And today, I can give you a beautiful floor with a different look than floor finish. But the day you put it down is not the best day. I can show you pictures in schools that have been down 4 years. They look better today than when they installed them. Now, one school has got 24 coats of product on. But remember, 24 coats of product doesn't even equal 1 coat of wax. 1 layer of wax. And usually wax is 4 to 8 coats. It's a gorgeous floor. Beautiful floor. No yellow, no chipping, no peeling, no cracking, no impregnation of dirt or debris. There's a measuring device that you can use from a company called Hygiene, and it measures adenosine triphosphate. It's the energy in life, okay? And so you can do a simple swab test. Now it doesn't tell you, is that E. coli on the floor, or is that salmonella, or what is it that's on the floor? But you can get a swab test and you get a number that says, hey, it's dirty. It needs to be cleaned. Typically, with our floor finish, we almost make it aseptic. It literally does not support the growth of bacteria, algae, mold, or viruses, okay? So now you have a beautiful shine, you have something that's gonna last, it's never gonna go away. It does wear, we're super thin. So you put down 7 coats is the magic number. You put it down, you're gonna get wear, but then if your normal cycle is you go in and top coat every 2 to 6 months, go back and top coat. This time you don't need stripper. You don't have anything harmful going into the environment, okay? You're just gonna clean it, knock down 2 coats, and get on with it. That's all you're gonna do.
Sounds like a big labor savings.
Mammoth. You're gonna lower your labor cost by over 70%. 70 annually. And more importantly, you're gonna eliminate certain processes. Okay. You don't have to burnish every day to make the floor shiny. It doesn't need your help. All you need to do is keep it clean. For instance, at Hostess Community College in New York City, they have some terrazzo on 2 sides of where they have a pedestrian walkway across the buildings. They put us down and they only auto scrub 1 day a week and they dust mop the other 4. They used to auto scrub and burnish every single night. So they've actually been able to take 2 people off that job and put them to better use in other areas in the school. So they have better use of manpower now, okay? That's nice. So it's all about helping you reallocate, your different assets. And people are assets. Treat them properly. They'll save you, or they'll cost you money. Do it right. They'll help you save money.
Capacity, like, I know the big thing with whenever we were ordering product from you, you always say, like, this stuff, we just can't go like that, and it's like presto made. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have capacity that you can.
Yeah. The interesting thing that happens is, like, for instance, we make a concentrate, and our capacity is 5,000 gallons a day, and you go, that's nothing. Wait a minute. 1 gallon covers 30,000 square feet. 5,000 times 30,000. That's 2 sets of 3 zeros, right?
Yeah.
That you can coat 150 million square feet with one production run.
Per day.
Per day.
Right.
Now you're putting down 7 coats, so divide that into the 150.
Sure.
So now you're down to approximately 22 million square feet where you have 4 coats, or 7 into it, excuse me. If we go 7, now you got 22 million square feet where you got 7 coats.
Right.
No problem. 22 million square feet, that's a lot of square feet.
It's a lot of square feet.
That's a lot of square
feet. If you figure like a normal big box retail chain store like a Walmart or
sure.
Target, those are what, approximately like 100,000 square feet?
They're between 80 to 100 of floor space.
Yeah, so
usable floor space.
It's a lot of stores.
That's a lot of stores.
And that's only that's per day.
And that's per day.
Well, I know that the big tout on the product, and everybody is, like, it sounds like it's too good to be true, is that you never have to strip and wax a floor again. Can you take me through that process and like how your product's applied?
If the product won't yellow, chip, peel, or scratch, if nothing can be driven into the surface, it's so hard, okay? Therefore, there's no need to take it off, is there? Of course not. There's no need. So therefore, and it gets smoother over time, yet when it's wet, the coefficient of drag is higher than 0.50. Now, if you're below 0.50, you got an insurance issue.
So when you use this product, you're going to have less slip falls.
Absolutely. We just finished a 6-month study up at Johns Hopkins. They did 3 or 4 of their operating rooms. At the end of 6 months, they documented that they lessened their slip and fall incidents, and not only that, they significantly dropped their bacteria count. So they've just finished, as of 2 weeks ago, doing all 86 operating rooms.
Nice.
And in the process, then they went on and did the main mezzanine and the entryway to the hospital, which is about 30,000 square feet of epoxy terrazzo. It's magnificent.
So Johns Hopkins they're smart. They kind of understand.
They're pretty bright.
They understand the product.
Well, they want to lessen the slip and fall incidences, and more importantly, they understand. The floor is nothing but a petri dish. Look at it this way. When you walk into Walmart and you look at that floor, or Target, think of it as a petri dish, and it's got all kinds of little creepy crawly things going on there right now. You walk in that from the parking lot, and your shoes are black. The bottoms are black because you picked up exhaust gases. Bacteria thrives on hydrocarbons. They need carbon to live. So you're propagating the floor. It's just a natural food source. You're bringing it in. So you got dirty parking lot, becomes dirty floors, right? How many times do you walk into a major store or a hospital and you see these paths? They're dark. What is that? Hydrocarbon being ground in from burnishing. They're not getting it clean. That's a food source for the bacteria or viruses.
It's kind of like bringing a dog food bag open in front of a pack of dogs that haven't eaten in a couple of days.
It's just that bad.
It's a feeding frenzy.
It's a feeding frenzy. It's awesome.
So Jeff, I'm very excited about your product and being able to
Yes.
to sell your product, because I'm consider myself to be a fairly decent salesperson, but what a good salesperson loves to have is a great product. And if you have a great product,
It's everything.
yeah, you can really do wonders with it.
Okay.
But I really liked your product because of what it does, not only for, I'm saying, the healthcare industry, which
If you think of healthcare, if it's good for healthcare, what's wrong with having that in the kitchen of the restaurants that I go to? Or how about the floors of those restaurants? Or what about when I go shopping?
Right.
Wouldn't you want something that's bright, clean, and healthy?
And
that's what we're about. Bright, clean, and healthy floors.
bright, clean, healthy floors. And then you told me about things about like where there were problems with the stench of urine and some of the men's prisons.
Totally goes away. It does. Remember, if it smells, that's because there's bacteria in there.
Right.
If there's no odor, no bacteria. Okay?
Pretty simple.
Very simple. All right? Very simple.
Yeah, there's some place I could go with that, but I'm not going to.
That would be
I know that
fine.
people are going to be watching this, but I want everybody to know that is out there, okay, that down below we have the links for you to be able to go and watch the product be applied, learn more about the product, and also be able to order the product online so that they can, you know, use this product on your floor. Remember one thing: if you buy the product, use the product, and are dissatisfied for any reason, you're not happy with it, okay, we give you 100% money back guarantee. So make sure you give it a try. It does come in, what different size do we have available in?
Well, we really only, today we're packaging it as 1 gallon concentrate, and then you blend it.
Yeah.
So once you mix it, contrary to your typical floor finish, once you open it, you better use it or you lose it.
Okay.
With us, you mix it and you can use it today, just keep it capped or leave it in your pump up sprayer that we suggest you apply from, and it'll sit there. You can use it 6 months later and it's just fine.
Right, so
Okay?
this is a really easy product to apply.
Today, listen, let's go back. You ready?
Yes.
6 years ago, 1 coat of our product to the contractor or end user was 6 cents a square foot. 1 coat.
Wow.
Not good.
That's 42 cents.
If you did
For
7
7
coats,
coats, right.
Yeah, that dog ain't gonna hunt.
So now, because of all the production that you are doing,
It's not only that, it's we had to learn something. We initially went on thinking we could go in and go down and put millage down. Oh, was that a disaster? That did not work. So we revamped, went back, and we made, like we did at the Dolphin Stadium, we made a concentrate, you cut it, now you apply it down, and we do thin coats. So we now put down 7 coats. 7 coats, we're only at 1.4 microns. We're very thin, but the floors you have seen and now believe, correct?
oh yeah, I'm a
Okay.
true believer.
At first,
This is all we use.
well, at first there was a little bit of tension
Correct.
between us.
There was.
Which is because you have had how many years of experience in the industry?
7 years.
Okay, so let's talk about concrete for a minute.
Right, well, concrete that's my baby.
Concrete's your baby. Okay, so let's start with a very good definition of concrete. A rigid sponge.
That's true.
Okay, so when you pour concrete, it's called reactive cured. It develops heat and it sets and it's driving the water that's in there out. As it's doing that, it's forming capillary channels all around the little aggregate, the sand, the little mouth, you know, you can't see it. Totally invisible to the eye, better known as Portlandites.
Portlandite.
So, yeah, so you've got, I love you, brother, just bear with me. So here we've got this, if you can visualize a piece of concrete, 14% of that concrete is nothing but capillary channels. Think of it like your body, okay? You got muscle, but blood's flowing through there. You see the veins, but you can't see the capillary channels. And if it wasn't for the capillary channels, we'd all be dead, correct?
Yeah, I agree.
There'd be no way to get nutrients to the cells, etc. Okay, so it's the same thing there. So now when you take your piece of concrete and you want to densify it, there are some people who honestly believe that you can put something on the surface and it'll work its way all the way through. If it does, that's really bad concrete and it's not going to last. So you attempt to bridge in there, you put things in there so it plugs it up and makes it tighter, right?
Mhm.
So that you can then polish it and do your thing, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so we do the same thing. We will wick in there, but we'll stop because we lose a much bigger molecule, and we'll get it nice and tight for you, all right? And then you then you can polish it, and then you put some coats on the top, and now you got a better finish than you've ever dreamed of that will not, like your lithiums or sodiums, go back to a soluble state. It's not going to come off because of our triple cross-linking system with our nanoparticles of titanium dioxide.
Right, the only way you can remove it is with diamonds.
You've got to use diamonds to grind it off.
Right. That's amazing.
It's wonderful.
Because I watched like the Home Depots and stuff where
Oh.
they have these systems where they keep using the lithium densifier, trying to attempt to dust-proof their facilities.
That's all they're doing. In 6 to 9 months, it's gone, and the floors are bare again, and they look terrible.
And it's dusting.
Yeah, and it's dusty.
Yeah.
So what we've done is we went from 6 cents per coat to we're now down to less than a penny per coat. So before we would have been 42 cents for 7 coats. Today with 7 coats, we're no more than 5 cents. Now, In volume, of course, you know, it would, you know, the bigger jobs, it would come down a little bit, but even at that price, that's so affordable. Why?
Right, sure.
You never buy stripper again.
For a VCT floor.
Terrazzo. Epoxy terrazzo, cementitious terrazzo, hard tile and grout. Never buy stripper again. We can go on any surface. We can go on wood if you have a cured polyurethane there. We bond to the polyurethane and prevent it from going yellow on you. Wouldn't that be nice? You put down a gym floor, looks so beautiful. Of course, you don't want to add. Why is it that you're watching a basketball game, somebody falls, what do? They come to dry off the floor. If they didn't do it, what would happen? Instant slip. It's not true with us.
This product lessens the percentages of the slip fall.
It has a higher coefficient of drag wet than it does dry.
That's amazing.
It's amazing. Can I explain it?
Yeah, go ahead.
I can't.
Go ahead.
Except we know it's true. You do it by the James instrument test. You can go in the field and test it. It's there. The numbers don't lie. And you can pour water on it, take a run and try to slip, and it bites.
So I want to thank you very much for joining us today.
It's
and
a delight to be here.
As always, it's a pleasure to be with you and spend time with you. And I have to say that since SIMIX has come into Xtreme's life, we've really done well with your product, and it's only getting better and better.
And you had to become a believer, and you did it by seeing.
It did take a while.
It did. You know, we appreciate. It was kind of an interesting struggle, in hindsight, as I look back. But the day you finally put down 2 coats and you saw the difference, then you did 3. Unbeknownst to me, you tried 4, and I said, "But you wait till you see 7."
Yeah, we did 7 at the World of Concrete this year, and
Showstopper.
yeah, it was amazing.
Scary.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Oh, I couldn't believe it.
That picture actually is out there, not only on our Facebook, but it's also, I think on your site you have it.
We have it on our site, and we put it in some literature.
Yeah.
It's been, it's being seen by a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a great product. I suggest you strongly buy this product, use this product, incorporate it into your maintenance of your floors, and use it on a regular basis, and you're going to be able to, just in stripping and waxing, they're going to save so much money by not having to do that.
You should save annually a minimum of 20 cents per square foot maintenance, at least.
20 cents a square foot, that's a lot of money.
At least.
Especially for some of these large organizations that have, you know, millions of square feet.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Well, thanks again.
My pleasure.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.